This remote city is very cold and has very high housing and food costs. So why on earth do people relocate to Chukoka's capital? Greetings from Anadyr. You anticipate seeing a very different scene when you visit this small town on the edge of the planet in its harsh climate. In actuality, Anadyr can lay claim to the title of Russia's most colorful town. Murals are used to decorate almost every apartment building there. I heard of observant walruses watches on from one block while a giant deer winks on from another. This town has a modern movie theater, a sports club, and various playgrounds for kids with Arctic animal statues. It also has cozy winding streets. Many people can't afford to buy goods. It takes more than 8 hours to fly from Moscow to Anadyr, the Chukotka Autonomous Okrug's capital. The only settlements and endless tundra that lie beyond it are a number of villages in eastern Russia and Eurasia. The distance from other settlements causes the price of any goods brought here to immediately increase. It is not surprising that Anadyr, which has a population of about 15,000, tops the list of Russia's most expensive cities. Visitors are often shocked by the prices in local stores. Fresh vegetables and fruit cost 4 to 5 times more than the average in Russia, while a carton of milk costs 3 to 4 times more. And those are summer rates. Winter rates are even higher. The price tags are kind of a thing around here, as the locals say. Simple products cost an unbelievable amount because they, like other everyday items, can only be delivered to Anadyr by sea and only during favorable weather conditions, which doesn't happen often. There are no railroads and no regular roads because of the challenging geographic and climatic conditions outside of the town. There are only the so-called zimniki that you can traverse on something like an ATV. Of course, using a plane is an option, but the cost would then increase. Depending on the weather, Anadyr's food transportation window typically runs from the middle of June to the beginning of November. In Vladivostok, the cargo is loaded onto a massive ferry that travels 3,700 kilometers every month. It makes its way first to Anadyr and then to other Chukotka settlements. The ferry is able to complete several trips each summer. Local produce is also available in Chukotka, and its costs are much lower than those of anything imported, roughly in line with Russian price ranges. In addition to local venison, sockeye salmon, and vegetables grown in summer greenhouses, Anadyr bakes its own bread, of course using imported flour. The greenhouse industry is being developed by local businessmen to produce affordable cucumbers and tomatoes all year long, but they are currently only taking the first steps. In Anadyr, the price of everything is high. All forms of housing are also very expensive. You can stay in the most basic hotel in this far-flung provincial town for the same price as a 4-star hotel stay in such an expensive location as Moscow in 1,000 rubles per night, or roughly $170. Similar in price to Moscow, a one-room apartment in an Anadyr Khrushchevka building starts at 7 million rubles, or roughly $115,000 today. Despite all the difficulties mentioned, many young professionals travel to Anadyr and Chukotka as a whole. Although there are facilities for kids in the town as well, you hardly ever see seniors. Romance in the north. In 1889, Anadyr was established before 1934. It was called Novomariansk. Anadyr's infrastructure received significant investment during the Soviet era because the town was so close to the sea border with the United States that it could be considered to be on active duty. In addition, There were plenty of jobs because there were gold and silver deposits there when the 1950s came to an end. The cost of living in the north has always been high, but during the Soviet era, it was more than made up for by benefits like early retirement, which was known as to go for a long ruble in pursuit of big money. Anadyr is well known, but it has never been a major city. It reached its peak population of 17,000 people in 1989. However, during the ensuing decade, a third, if not more, of the population left the town due to the crisis brought on by the fall of the USSR. Across the entire Chukotka, the population dropped threefold. The situation was so bad that many people sold their apartments for the cost of airline tickets to Moscow. People started coming back at the start of the new millennium. Locals claim Roman Abramovich, a now famous businessman and former Chukotka governor, was largely responsible for making it happen, who occupied this post in 2001-2008. He invested in it, according to Russian media, and paid millions of dollars worth of income tax for the area. Anadyr is undoubtedly the most expensive city in Russia. About 10% of all Russian gold is found in Chukotka, where people work primarily in the mining and gold mining industries. However, because Anadyr has no industry, people there also work as office workers, doctors, and teachers. Additionally, the seaport and the airport draw specialists. Jobs in Anadyr and Chukotka. Numerous positions are available on a rotating basis. In addition to paying the salary, the employer frequently covers travel and lodging expenses. Workers receive a full reimbursement for their travel expenses to and from their vacation destination every 2 years, anywhere in Russia. Additionally, the age requirement for retirement decreases after a certain amount of time spent working in Chukotka. Actual pension is 1.5 times higher in this region of Russia than in other regions. People typically relocate there for work for several years while saving their income for a home or an apartment back home, and then they return.